If it was part of Narbral Gamma's character to say those things without even realizing it, didn't he want to trample on the wishes of the guildmate who created her? Okay, let us go. Yes, that I say, Aints proceeded atop Hamusuk. Several people were in line at the gates. The examination to enter the country was stricter than the examination to exit, which was only natural. The guards inspected cargo quite thoroughly. For that reason, if there were peddlers or traveling merchants in the queue, it could take quite a while to get into Rantel. I guess it wouldn't take too long, wouldn't they let you go ahead? Narbral quietly asked as they lined up behind a few other travelers, including some who looked like adventurers. She was right. He had passed an extremely annoying inspection the first time he went through. But as his renown grew, the exams had grown simpler and simpler. Now he essentially got a free pass. Not only that, but sometimes he was even allowed priority entrance. Raven Black wasn't special in this regard. Many teams Mithril or above were treated the same way. The consideration was given so as not to displease the city's trump cards. If they really wanted to do him a favor, they'd get rid of the entry taxes. Considering how much adventurers earned, the fees were extremely cheap. But for Aints, who was bringing in the lion's share of foreign currency to Nazarick, it was a cost he didn't appreciate. That said, he didn't simply use a flying spell to go over the walls either. Momon was a hero. That meant I shouldn't cut in line unless there is some extenuating circumstance and I need to get in quickly. Still sitting on Hamusuk, he noted Narbral's bow of acknowledgement out of the corner of his eye and gazed absent-mindedly at the line ahead. We were really not moving, though just like a giant traffic jam, the line of people wasn't budging. What the? It seems like they were checking a wagon, but they were doing an awfully thorough job. Wait, they were just surrounding it, not inspecting it. Did they find something illegal? Excuse me, he addressed the countryman ahead of him. What can I do for you? No need to get so flustered. I am just wondering if you know why the line isn't moving. I don't know the details. They took a village girl to the guardhouse. Then all of a sudden Aints listened to the man's story, but didn't learn much. He craned his neck to get a look at the guardhouse. Focusing his ears, he could hear irritated voices. Suddenly, he was curious. When he first came to this city, he had been asked several questions at the gate. He had gotten through more easily than he expected, to the point where his impression was that people in this world were surprisingly kind to drifters like mercenaries, adventurers, and travelers. Now, however, it seemed like that wasn't actually the case, so he wondered what kinds of questions they were asking the village girl. Now Aints had the rank of adamantite, which was valid in other countries as well. Apparently, most places would admit him because of it. That was precisely why he wanted to know what kinds of questions she was being asked. There could be times in the future where he infiltrated the city not as Momon, but under some other guise. His aim was to be prepared for that by getting information ahead of time. Wait here a minute. I'll see what's going on. I'll come with you. That won't be necessary. I am just taking a quick look. He got off Hamusuk and walked toward the guardhouse. All the soldiers yelped in surprise when they saw him. Everyone in Rantel knew who Momon the adamantite rank adventurer was. Taking care to appear confident, he arrived in front of the guardhouse. Inside, he could see a village girl sitting in a chair. There was also a caster and a soldier who appeared agitated. We'd like to enter the city already. What are you doing? Aha! Both men emitted an identical yelp to the soldiers outside. The village girl looked his way, dazed. If it isn't Sir Momon, do excuse us. What in the world are you, huh? That girl, I've seen that face somewhere before. He searched his hippocampus, not that it existed, for information about her. Yes, there was a suspicious girl here, so it took some time to investigate her. We apologize for inconveniencing you. As he was thinking how annoying the man's voice was, the girl's name came to him in a flash. Henry, that's right. Henry Emott, right? Who might you be? Oh wait, you came that one time with Enfira, right? I don't remember speaking to you, but perhaps you heard my name from NFI. Suddenly, Aints put a hand over his mouth in spite of himself. The one who had met Henry was the masked caster Aints Gown. Now he was the adamantite rank adventurer clad in raven black armor. Momon, shit. I just talked in my normal voice. This is bad. I gotta get out of here. But why is she here? If she's looking for me, or rather, for Aints Gown, that LL be trouble. I should get the details from her. It didn't seem like She had figured out his identity from their interaction just now, but he still had to consider the possibility. Didn't he really think she would be able to recognize a voice she had heard briefly several months ago through armor? But one could never be too careful. Aints waved over the caster. He figured the caster knew more than the soldier. He pulled him out of the guardhouse and took enough distance so their voices wouldn't carry. So that girl is a friend of an acquaintance. Can you tell me what's going on? He wasn't lying. Aints and Momon were acquainted with Enfire. The caster's eyes widened. It was an expression similar to surprise, but different in some way. It was as if he had connected the dots, like he had solved a puzzle in his head. I see, so that's it. What is it? Ain't spit back the jab and waited. She kept saying she was just a village girl, but she was concealing an immensely powerful magic item shaped like a horn. We thought it was suspicious that she would be carrying such a thing, so we were trying to get the details. What kind of horn? What does it do? Well, its power is to, after hearing the man's story, Ain't suddenly looked up at the sky. He wanted to escape the reality that it was the item he had given her. When he had given it to her, he didn't have any idea what kind of items were commonplace in this world. He just wanted her to protect herself. Who could have guessed it would cause trouble for her later? He knew he hadn't done anything wrong, but he didn't feel like he could abandon her. I guess I should help her. This isn't my fault, but I should take responsibility for giving her that item. It would be worse to ignore her and have it fall into someone else's hands. Besides, if she gets taken prisoner, Enfire knew that Momon and Aints Ulgaun were one and the same. Under these circumstances, if he heard Henry's story, he would think that Aints abandoned her. That would definitely make him resent me. I wouldn't care if he was just any worthless human, but he's extremely valuable to me. I can turn this issue to my advantage. If I save her, Enfire will be grateful. I need to tighten my chains on him little by little. Ain't spoke in what he felt was a calm, dignified voice. You don't need to worry about her at all. I know her character well. She is not the kind of person who will cause trouble, so please let her through. Can you do that for me? Of course. We would even let a criminal in if you knew them and vouched for them. Is that so? Well, thank you. And then, sorry to trouble you, but do you think Ravenblack could also go in ahead of the line? After getting permission to enter, Aints returned to Narbarl and Hamusuk. We've been cleared to enter ahead of the others. Let us go through the gate. He rode Hamusuk past the people in line. The travelers waiting their turn noticed him, but when they saw his raven-black armor, Hamusuk and Narbarl, they looked away in resignation. They had seen the status gap between Aints and themselves. With deep, reverent bows from the soldiers guarding the gate, Aints and his party passed through it and entered Rantel. Okay, Nabe. I have a favor to ask you. Understood. Your wish is my command. He wondered how this loyal attitude looked in the city among fellow adventurers, but he knew saying anything would be pointless, so he continued with his order. Talk to Henry, the girl on the next wagon that will come through the gate, and find out why she is here. Next, he looked for a place to hide. He wanted to avoid any further conversation with Henry herself. He glanced around the area, decided ducking behind a stack of wooden crates would suffice, and had Hamusuk dash over there. The two of them appeared so suddenly, the soldiers working there got flustered. Do you have a moment, sir? I'd like to ask you about these crates. Aints asked one of the soldiers, after confirming that his position wasn't visible from the gate. Of course, he had no interest in the crates. It was just an excuse so they wouldn't shoo him off for being in their way. Yes, sir. Thank you for your interest, Sir Momon. These are crates of a vegetable called Kinshu from the Grandal domain. Aints listened to the soldier's earnest explanation, occasionally muttering I see or really. He was rather unengaged, but the soldier took no offense and continued explaining. Aints was learning a great deal about different ways to prepare Kinshu when he sensed Narbarl appear behind him. Sorry to interrupt your explanation, he declared. I appreciate the useful information you've given me, but my friend is back, so I need to go. He had Hamusuk start walking. So what did you find out? First, she wanted to thank you. Then she said she has 3 aims: to sell herbs, to check at the shrine if people want to move to her village, and finally to visit the Adventurers Guild. The Adventurers Guild? What kind of request is she going to make? I am afraid I didn't find out much more. Should I catch her and force her to tell me? No need. We're headed to the Adventurers Guild anyway. We can probably just ask someone there. He figured it wasn't about wanting to thank Ain't Ulgaun directly. If that was the case, she could have said it to Lupus Regina when she visited. Oh right, Nabe, have you gotten any special reports from Lupus Regina lately? When he saw her shake her head, his brow knot that he had one, of course, furrowed. Originally, he had stationed shadow demons in the village, but in order to deepen friendly relations, he sometimes sent Lupus Regina instead. He had instructed her to report immediately if any problems occurred in the village, but he hadn't heard anything yet. So he was under the impression that Khan wasn't having any issues. Perhaps it wasn't necessary to report that Henry had gone to Rantle on her own, but worry appeared in Aintz's mind like a dark cloud. I thought Lupus Regina was the kind of person who took her job fairly seriously, but what do you think, Nabe? It's as you say. She comes off as frivolous because of the way she talks, but it's only an act. She is a crafty, brutal maid. Crafty and brutal were NT compliments. He furtively searched her face for any trace of negative emotions, but her imposing expression contained only respect for her teammate. So, Master, is it all right to go to the Adventurers Guild as planned? Yeah, you know where it is, right? Okay, Nabe, get on. No need to take your animal statue warhorse out again. After Aints took Narbral's hand and pulled her up behind him, Hamusuk sped up as if she'd been raring to go. Aints was no longer mortified to swagger down the streets atop the giant hamster. On the contrary, he loved that she could understand him and that he could give her orders. Riding her was like taking a taxi. Eventually, the Adventurers Guild came into view. At the same time, he saw the wagon from earlier, as well as Henry disappearing inside the building. Dang Hamusuk. I am going in the back entrance. Take me around the other side. Understood, Master. Adventurers were NT usually allowed in the back door, but adamantite ranks could get away with anything. That said, it was still his first time. Taking excessive advantage of his privileges would have been bad for his reputation. He went in the back and asked the first guild employee he saw to take him to the head of the guild's office. Luckily, perhaps he was in. Oh, Momon, thanks for coming. The head of the guild, Ainzak, welcomed him with open arms, grabbing and enveloping him in a forceful hug. Aints was wearing armor and a helmet, so it didn't bother him, but if he had been only lightly dressed, he would have rather avoided it. The embrace was warm in too many ways. After giving him a friendly pat on the back, Ainzak slowly pulled away. You haven't been coming around lately, so I've been lonely. Now take a seat on the sofa. We can have a nice chat until the other members of the meeting arrive. The head of the guild gestured at the sofa cheerfully, as if he was welcoming a good friend he hadn't seen in a long time. Thank you. When Aints sat down, Ainzak sat next to him. The space between them was very small. It made it hard to breathe. Their knees were even touching. Momon, we've known each other so long. You can relax with me, you know. No, manners are important even among friends. That's a very important lesson I learned from my predecessors. Certainly, at work he would sometimes have gotten on friendlier terms with clients, and even spoken in a casual tone, but he didn't want to open himself up like that with the head of the guild. He felt it was appropriate to keep things businesslike. If you have too many connections inside an organization, it can start to pin you down. He didn't want to get stuck at one adventurer's guild in one city. Maybe it is time to move on, or really Ain't stared at Ainzak next to him through the slit in his helmet. Why are you sitting next to me anyway? Normal etiquette would be to put Narbral there and sit across from us. With that uncomfortable closeness, he couldn't help but wonder if Ainzak was interested in him. He heard from the head of the Wizards Guild that Ainzak is married, but maybe that is for show. He thought Ainzak was just eager to be better friends, but there is definitely something else going on. Or does Ainzak think he is gay? The last thing he suddenly imagined made him shudder. Aints was straight. Well, he had been anyhow. Incidentally, not that it mattered, but Satoru Suzuki preferred women with breasts over flat-chested ones. All this seemed to hold true even now, judging by the way he felt a faint desire for albedo over someone like Cocytus. After taking some distance, by repositioning his butt, he turned to look straight at Ainzak. Do excuse me, but I came here to ask you something. Someone I know visited the guild just now. I wonder if you can tell me what her request was about. We have rules against that. That's why I am asking you. I know I am being unreasonable, and I understand how important it is to follow the rules, but please. Aints bowed his head. Ainzak crossed his arms and stared up at the ceiling with a stern face, but that lasted only a moment. all right, he smiled at Aints. I just can't say no when it's you asking. Can you tell me this person's name? She's from Khan. Her name is Henry Emott. Henry, okay, give me a minute. Before long, he was back. Behind him followed a receptionist Aints had seen before. She came in stiffly, nearly paralyzed with nerves. Sir Momon, wow, Aints thought. It was his first time seeing someone so nervous they were walking completely out of step. He would have liked to tell her she could relax, but he only nodded benevolently. Not coming off too free and easy was something adamantite rank adventurers worried about. This is the receptionist who talked to Henry Emott. You'd probably like to talk to her directly, right? Anything you want to know, ask away. Oh, in that case, but first, why don't we have her sit down? This isn't my office, so it would be weird for me to say it, but no, that won't be necessary. I am fine as is. Satoru Suzuki would have felt awfully strange sitting while the person he was talking to was standing. But during his time acting as Aints Ul Gaon, ruler of the Great Tomb of Nazarick, those feelings had faded. He had grown to simply accept the gap between those at the top and those below. It seemed like proof that his role playing as a masterful being wasn't for nothing. He had actually gained experience points. So how many more points till I level up? Oh wait, are you sure? Well then let us begin. I'd like to hear the details of her request. It's very important, so can you make sure not to leave anything out? Why yes sir, sticky cold sweat beaded on her face. What is it? Is something wrong? No, her eyes wandered side to side. Did I phrase the question poorly? Then let us try this way. Was her request about searching for someone? No sir. Oh okay then what was it about? Did she not even make a request? It wasn't an immediate request, more like a consultation about a request she might make in the future. And well, she said there were monsters in the woodlands, the giant of the east, and the serpent of the west that are as powerful as the wise king of the forest you tamed. Though Aints found the barely coherent receptionist strange, he continued questioning her. A future request? It's not what you think. I didn't realize she was someone you knew, Sir Momon. If I would have known, I would have asked for more details. Honest, faced with this tearfully shouting receptionist, Aints was puzzled. Is it really all right to have someone so emotionally unstable manning the desk? Guildmaster, sorry, I should have supervised her better. What? It's the rules of the guild. Listening to their conversation, Aints realized what their twisted understanding was. They both thought he and Henry knew each other, and out of respect for the guild, she would request a job he normally would have done for her free of charge. Then the receptionist coldly turned her away, assuming she had financial issues. So they were arguing over who should take responsibility for refusing a friend with an adamantite rank. If it's the rules of the organization, then the one who followed them is right. Aints lowered his opinion of the head of the guild, glaring at him. Pretty sure it's a boss's job to cover for their subordinates. Or is he ripping into her while I am standing here to inspire pity and get me to forgive her? He was really criticizing her. Aints felt the receptionist's handling of the situation was correct. The head of the guild probably thought so too, but just as when Aints had come in through the back door, or when he made the request to Ainzak in the first place, adamantite rank adventurers were easily made exceptions to the rules. That was how badly they wanted to keep him around, and that was why they were fighting. I didn't know. Aints spoke gently to the sobbing receptionist. You didn't do anything wrong. The receptionist's eyes went round in surprise. All the tears streamed down her face. It's important to follow the rules of your organization. Of course, other times it's necessary to ignore them. I'm not blaming you at all in this case. Thank you. So I am sorry to press you, but please ask her for the details. Don't tell her I'll take the job. I just want to be informed so I can move at any time. Understood, right away. I'll go ask her right away. Excuse me. The receptionist spun on her heel and raced into the hallway. She was like a receding typhoon. I'd like you to not pretend to blame innocent people just to arouse my pity. That was unpleasant. I can fool you, I guess. Aints gathered from the guildmaster's strained voice that his guess had been correct. Japanese business techniques seem to be used everywhere. But the problem is Lupus Regina came into his mind. Did Lupus Regina miss these monsters that even this village girl knows about? Did the intelligence net fail? He needed to find out what happened. He returned to Nazarick and kept the story on his mind. He waited for the receptionist's report. 4:41 p.m. Nazarick time, Lupus Regina nervously entered Aintz's office. Confused by the sudden summons, she couldn't hide her anxiety. Once she arrived, those present included her, the regular maid Sixus, the combat maid Narbaral, Aura the one who understood the forest the best, the 8-edged assassins clinging to the ceiling, and Aints himself. Incidentally, Albedo was in disciplinary confinement. Lupus Regina began to make her most polite bow, but Aints stopped her. "Lupus Regina, is there something you're not telling me?" When she looked confused, he wondered if she hadn't known after all. He explained about the giant of the east and the magical serpent of the west. But then she looked like she did know, and Aintz's mood quickly soured. He emitted a long, quiet sigh. "You knew? Yes, you fool." Overcome with rage, Aints let his anger carry away his shout, and it echoed. Everyone trembled like they had been struck by lightning, and Aints felt his emotions being suppressed.